Hey guys, what's going on? Chris Fluck here. This is the Chris Fluck Podcast. Today's special guest, Frank Donley, the man. We're by the fire today. We got our lattes going. Frank's birthday today, so we're celebrating it with doing this awesome podcast. Now, if you guys don't know us or never met us or never been down here in the Lehigh Valley, we're both working out of this space here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Brick House Strength's the name. Frank Donley Training's his business. We worked together maybe like 10 years ago. It was in Easton, Pennsylvania. Frank, I think he's got a couple years more experience than I do. I went into an LA Fitness. There's some guy interviewing me at a Mohawk, probably even younger than me at the time. I was like 24-ish, and he was talking a little bit crazy, whatever. I didn't know what kind of job I was walking into, but it ended up working out pretty good. I worked there for like 2 years. Frank, I was there for maybe 3 or 4 years. Frank, you put in a good.
I was 7 at least.
He was a good 7 deep. But anyway, we go back about 8 years. So we wanted to introduce him now because now we kind of joined forces again. We circled back, now in 2000, almost 2019 here, and we kind of joined forces here. We're working together, working with all kinds of different people here in the Lehigh Valley. So just want to take some time here and kind of introduce Frank, what he does and all that stuff and his background. So diving into this a little bit, you want to kickstart it?
Let's do it.
Go ahead. All right.
So I'm actually originally from the Cumberland Valley, so Bowling Springs High School. I grew up in Carlisle. Got started the ambience of this fire is obviously unmatched here. But growing up, I got into a lot of youth sports. I played soccer because I was too large to play football. I wasn't too large, but I would play against kids like multiple years older than me just because of the weight limits. Soccer, basketball, baseball, got into those. It's probably best at soccer, honestly, because I got to truck kids playing defense. And kept aging through that. Going,
So what happened with football?
Football, I did not start until 8th grade. 8th grade, I started playing, so I played 1 year at JV. And then football is the first sport I actually started to love for sure.
Yeah.
Team camaraderie, all that stuff's unmatched. Competition, it was just phenomenal.
Did you play on the line?
For sure. So in 9th grade,
do you think missing those first years in youth, did that even make a whole lot of a difference? You think the kids were ahead of you?
I do. Probably initially in like 8th grade because I didn't really know what I was doing. But like, I feel like if you're athletic enough or you would be fine. I don't think the specific skill set held me back that much. There's probably a little bit more of a learning curve. I feel like I got gradually better each year, when a lot of kids like skill wise probably didn't develop as much. So like 8th grade to 9th grade to 10th grade, there was like bigger gradients of improvement.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Than that,
because you didn't have the you didn't have this background in youth at all. So everything that you picked up was like you could have started here, but then you could have improved by like 200% every year just because you really didn't know what you were doing.
For sure. Yeah. From a scheme standpoint as well as like blocking specific anything. Didn't know anything basically going into it.
But then you just couldn't get the youth stuff. Like now it's a little bit different with the rules where at least down here you can play, you might be able to weigh like up to 150 I don't even know what the heck you could weigh, but you just can't carry the football, say, so you could still be on the team. They just changed those rules down here like 5-6 years ago maybe. The thought would be to get more kids out in the younger age. Unfortunately, they're not seeing it like trickle up to middle school and high school. Like the numbers are still the same, at least in some of these small schools around here. But like in your situation there, it was just like you just weren't making the weight, right?
I didn't even try. I wouldn't even made the effort. Honestly, in hindsight, though, I think it's probably a blessing in disguise because I took enough like head injuries and stuff anyway. Right. I don't know if I need to be banging heads at such a young age.
And it's probably a good point too with like just getting well versed in other stuff. You see some of the NFL guys. I think it was like Haloti Ngata or whatever. They were playing. It might have been him or another one of these big Samoan dudes was like their best sport was soccer growing up. I think it was Ngata. And it's like all these different sports teach you all kinds of different things. So defending somebody in soccer, something in that sport's going to translate to being a better football player. Whether it's like, just mirroring somebody, staying in front of them, doing whatever you got to do. But all these things translate. So to like totally cut yourself off from that opportunity and just kind of focusing on one thing is probably not an ideal situation.
Yeah, but we're both for multi-sport athletes
I know.
And against specialization in sports. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree. I don't think it held back much at all.
No, yeah, it's probably good. Especially with the brain situation going on.
Yeah. A lot of CTE.
But anyway, and then what we're saying though too, I think we talked before we went on the air or before we went on here, and just some of the stuff that like growing up, just crushing some food.
Yeah, so basically I had definitely had a childhood obesity problem. I mean, I was talking about starting to play football, so like I was probably, 8th grade. I peaked there. I was probably 6 foot, but I probably weighed like between 260, 280 pounds, I would say. But just like crushing food, food addiction. I probably weigh close to honestly the same now, but just not. I was like super soft. Obviously, at that age, if you're 14, you're gonna be super soft. But I was just addicted to food. I mean, I'd be smashing 2 bags of popcorn and stuff before dinner. I ate a lot of good food too. Like I was smashing. Like my parents like had vegetables and stuff, but I would eat like 3 portions. Like it was just really crazy. Just smashing everything, dude.
And that was just kind of what you did, right? It wasn't like something that really triggered anything. It was like it's kind of the situation.
I don't know I don't know if there was a specific trigger. I mean, I wasn't like.
You still feel like that now?
Didn't have, huh?
You still have that trigger now? Do you think?
Of eating? I think since I started fasting over a year ago, I've had more control over my eating than I've ever had in my life, honestly.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting stuff because, like, I mean, you're literally almost the same weight now, right?
Yeah.
Where you were as a 6th grader, and then you're probably 300.
Probably like 7th, 8th grade, but yeah.
Yeah, and then like just.
But I mean, you're talking about like 45% body fat compared to like. Probably a little below 20 or something. Yeah, yeah, right, yeah. John Cena.
So anyway, yeah, I mean that was just something too to kind of touch on because like, I mean it's just a kind of an ongoing battle too. I mean he just literally a year ago is when he kind of just started feeling that he got kind of under control with it too, which is awesome. That yeah, I don't know, you just kind of keep on keeping on and like not giving up on anything either, and like you know you just keep battling. And if there is some fluctuations and shit like that, it's like.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a lifelong process.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
But then after that stuff, we had youth football, Boiling Springs, Bubblers.
Yeah, bro. We're on the top 10 list, most unique names, Sports Illustrated.
The Bubblers.
Around 2002, if you want to look it up.
Yeah, we are going to look that up, actually.
Fiegel!
But then anyway, I mean, you're playing some sports, right? You're going to college?
Yeah, so in high school, I continued to play football. That was definitely my best sport. I got recruited by, some D1, AA schools, and D2 is probably going to be a better fit. Went to college visits like Clarion, Lock Haven, Shippensburg. Shippensburg was just, they were kind of like better at the time. Yeah. So I kind of got drawn towards that program. But yeah, that was the initial plan was definitely to play football in college.
Right, Kuhn was there?
Yeah, he was a savage, dude.
NFL. I mean,
John Kuhn, all right. So this kid broke every PSAC record at the time. But he would like sidestep a lineman, stiff arm a linebacker, and then leap a safety. Like multiple times a game. It was crazy. He was a freak. But he got moved to fullback when he got into the NFL.
6 to 8 years at least with the Packers, I feel like.
Yeah, and then he went to the Saints for a little bit. He was a savage.
Yeah.
So when he was a senior, I was a freshman.
Yeah.
Which was pretty eye-opening too because I thought I was strong. Like in high school lifting and stuff, I was like cleaning 225 for like reps. And like I walked in there and he was in like 365 on a hang clean for like doubles. Like not even hard. Like it was just like it was just a different animal.
Like one of the skill players just showing the lineman. Yeah.
For sure.
It's usually the opposite around in high school. But all right, man. Shippensburg. Playing as a play some football.
Playing to play some football, I actually quit playing football. I had a few I made some less than favorable decisions, I would call it too. Started chasing the wrong things, sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of situation. But I also had a couple car accidents I got into. I tore my knee out, my PCL meniscus. I like went through a windshield. My knee caught me. So that was like a couple month process. I had to go through rehab for that. And then I had another, I think it was a year, maybe a year and a half later. I herniated a few discs in my back. My wife was driving me down 81. I was working at the Carlisle War College at the time, so it was like mowing grass, like 10-hour days. I was like passed out with my foot up on the dash, There was a tractor trailer in the berm, actually, that made an illegal U-turn through like the emergency lanes, I guess you would call it. But it was making a U-turn. We couldn't stop, slammed into him. So I basically smashed my knee off the dash again, got this like huge hematoma on my knee again, the same knee I injured before, and then herniated a few discs in my back. So that kind of went back into that's kind of when I cycled back into weight losses. Weight control, maintenance, whatever, is really like a slippery slope because that's a certain place. Like at that time, I thought I had like a good control over these things.
Yeah. And
like some things that happen in your life are just going to kick you back into like bad situations, Right. And of course, that was me calling myself a victim, eating again, doing whatever I wanted again, and gained a ton of weight back. So I gained a lot of weight back at that time too. So at the point, I was actually up probably around by the end of college, like 330, I would say, super soft. But a lot of injuries. Coming back from the back injury was probably I was like dragging my leg, sciatic pain. Yeah. I'm talking like 2 years before I was like semi-functional. Like it was pretty messed up.
Were you trying to get it better at the time, or were you just kind of saying screw it? And
I was definitely not as adamant and as like proactive as I am with any kind of injury now.
Yeah.
I think if I would have, from a physical therapy standpoint, like everything's going to be frequency and how often you can do it. Can you do it? Can you stay consistent? I don't think at that age, I don't know if I wasn't mature enough or if I was just, in a bad place and I wasn't doing it as much as I could, I think.
Yeah,
I think I could have done
20,
more for
right?
sure. I was 20, yeah. I was 20,
And in college, so it's like where you're going to go. It's not like you're getting the best physical
Yeah,
therapist
I was just going to a spot, a spot down the street, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
and it was
lot.
only as many sessions as my insurance could do,
Yeah.
And they give you functional, you got to think at different levels, it's different things. So, like, some physical therapists could get you back to, sprinting, jumping, running, lifting again, whereas I could have went to a person that was, like, trying to get people out of a chair again,
Yeah.
So there's, like, different levels of physical therapy and stuff like that, too. There's different physical therapy strategies and all kinds of stuff.
You still feeling the effects of any of those accidents
Injuries?
and stuff? Yeah.
100%, yeah. My back still has a lot of issues. My knee mostly only in the winter and stuff whacked up, but
yeah,
for sure.
So what were
But
you
it's more
saying?
of like a pain's a psychological. I think pain is weird because it's like subjective. So I think a lot of people that get pain start focusing on pain, and then that's going to kind of elevate your pain. So like that pain to you might be like an 8 or whatever the doctor says out of 10. Whereas if now I try not to focus on that pain. Whereas then I think it kind of it was more severe, but I think it drove me in. Like I almost got in this cycle of dealing with pain every day,
Yeah.
Whereas when I pain now, I'll do some things that I know, and I know how my body reacts a lot better now too. So if I
think
feel
your pain
something coming
tolerance is
on, I
high?
could make it happen.
Based off because of that stuff. So you're saying at that time, what would have been like a pain level of 8 for somebody was just you treated it as a 5? Or were you the
No,
other way
at
around?
that time I was flip for
opposite,
sure.
yeah,
Like I might have been at a 5, but I thought it was an 8.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was the debilitating
Yeah.
at the time. Whereas I think part of that is mindset.
Yeah.
No,
Not
it's because you got to live how to learn how to live with pain.
Yeah.
So you have obviously nagging injuries and stuff as well. They're having pain at certain times, I'm sure. So it's just part of your daily life. So you just deal with it.
Yeah,
We
but you
just
hear
all
those
get
stories
mileage
too,
as time,
people's bodies are they'll get an X-ray or something. It's I think it was I think I was listening to Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah, of course you were.
On Joe
Of course
Rogan's
you were.
podcast. And anyway, this guy, what do you have going on? So basically, I think it was in his hip socket. He's basically had concrete in there from cartilage. I don't even know what happened, but it was they compared it to how cauliflower ear turns into concrete. The blood and cartilage, whatever, just kind of separated from one another and just filled. So his whole hip socket, the doctor
Locked
saw
up.
it and we're like, how the heck did you get in here? And he was like, I walked. He's like, bull crap, you didn't get in. You didn't walk. He's like, I'll show you. But anyway, his whole life was just in pain.
Yeah.
So his tolerance was just you know what, this is just another little thing. Where they looked at his x-ray and were like, there's no way this person could walk. Or I think his kind of mentor getting healthy again was Diamond Dallas Page, who's got disc issues in his back, could be stuff grinding against each other, but he feels totally fine. So
Love
it's
you talking about wrestlers.
Yeah. So it's
But yeah, totally psychological.
it is. It's interesting,
It's
right?
a
Or even,
psychological effect, I think, to an extent too.
and then just getting yourself.
And just the body's
moving.
a wild thing. So physiologically, you could have several issues like herniated disc, but it could affect motion instead of depending on where nerves are inverted and all kinds of stuff. And
And these guys started eating.
Wild.
They started eating right. They started moving and really making an effort to take care of themselves. And then all of a sudden, the pain kind of dissipated. But it wasn't even
You're talking about inflammation control through
probably
nutritional
probably
strategy,
all of it.
though. Then,
all
right?
of it, all of it.
For sure, I think 100%.
I think it's all of it. Yeah. So you could either sit around and feel sorry about it and just keep digging yourself into
Perpetuating
a
the
hole.
same issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Do
get
something.
moving. Yeah.
Do something.
So that's pretty much it, right?
Heal
and
gut health.
So we're talking Shippensburg U. What are you studying, man?
So Shippensburg University, I went in undeclared, no clue what I wanted to do, super confused, just wanted to play football.
Yep.
And then when all that kind of before I went, I probably declared maybe my sophomore year then, but it was when I was like, I love playing football, I love lifting weights, so I got an exercise science. I might have went in biology first because I graduated with biology and exercise science degrees, but I believe I started with biology and then I kind of specialized and went into exercise science. And originally I wasn't a great student or anything. I probably had a 2.5, 2.7 GPA, but it was all general education. I don't care about art history or any of that stuff. So when I got to exercise science, I got my GPA, the cumulative GPA was a 3.9. But it's funny,
You're pretty much a
kids
genius.
are 4, not even close. But it's funny when you're adamant about something you want to learn about
Yeah.
how well you do.
Yeah, it does make sense,
Yeah.
right?
Or passionate about your job, how well you do, all that stuff.
So you got out of there, man. Exercise science.
Got out of
What
there.
were you doing in school? What was the cool stuff that you did? You have to do a thesis or anything? Or these big projects at the end of the year?
I did.
Wolfie was in here the other day telling us about his post-activation potentiation project.
So I got involved in multiple research studies that I shared at Harrisburg has an ACSM conference. So we went there and presented. I think I was involved in 3. The one was like kinematic joint angles, like how they change as you run, like with taped versus untaped studies. So like people that tape their ankles, like how that actually changes their gait pattern of sprinting or whatever. Stuff. And they just actually got like cinematography equipment. So like we had the balls hooked up to everybody looking at joint angles. We had like software that actually did that for the first year.
Do you remember the result of that back? I mean, this is
that one didn't have that high of an effect, honestly. The one I presented on was on dynamic warm-ups or static stretching on power output and something to that extent, power output, athletic performance.
So is it like do a static stretch and then jump as high as you can?
Comparable,
like
but
that?
more so like an actual. I mean, it was like a build out.
Yeah.
Prehabilitate, like almost like a dynamic warm up, and then or a stretching protocol, and then going into a vertical leap, broad jump, and multiple like anaerobic tests. I would say.
Yeah. Nice. Just wondering, man.
Yeah, killed it.
Doing some real projects there.
Yeah, man. I was into it. I got certificates
tape,
and everything. Yeah.
What about the ankle tape, man? What do you think? Should kids be doing it?
Ankle tape?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah. If it's going to allow them to play and not injure themselves more, for sure.
Did it affect their gait?
No. Not significantly, I believe, is the terminology I should use.
Do you think it helped?
Ankle taping?
Yeah.
I think so.
Because this guy...
KT tape is probably taking over now, but...
Man, I used to see him in Allentown when I worked in Allentown, and he somehow either he was an intern with Florida Gators football, but whatever the research was at the time, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, it was just that maybe like that initial 30 to 60 minutes, like you might actually get some help and some support, but afterwards he almost compared it to a placebo with the like the kinesthetic feeling. Just having that tape on there gave you kind of like a sense of comfort.
Back to psychology.
There it is.
Let's
Boom.
go. Full circle.
Anyway, I just want to see what you guys dug up like 12 years ago, because I talked to this guy 5 years ago, and I mean I was coaching high school football at the time. Everybody's taping ankles and stuff, but then also at the time I was reading. You're gonna laugh about it, but Mike Boyle's joint by joint approach, where it's like the ankle
protege or Mike Boyle
the
protege.
ankle's supposed to have mobility, the knee's supposed to have stability. So if you limit the mobility in the ankle, then the knee's gonna have to do some of the work that the ankle should be doing. The knee should be stabilized.
So is it more susceptible to like ACL tears and stuff like that at that point?
That's what they thought, because it has to mobilize and stabilize at the same time, because that ankle is restricted.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's kind of how they work their way up the chain, or if the knee's not stable, you either go upstream or downstream with
one joint
where the injuries would be. Yeah.
Might have read this book.
Yeah. Anyway, it was good, and I just wanted to. We always ran that too. I mean, I coach high school football, and the line to get your ankles taped would be like 25 deep, and I'm like,
you were taping everything, dude.
Yeah.
Straight up the wrist, put them out.
Somebody elbow, forearm pads, and stuff like that.
Couple braces. Shoulder sling, get that arm in there nice and tight.
Double knee brace, just for safety.
Just in case.
All right. So man, we're getting out of Shippensburg now, man.
All right, going into Shippensburg. So
we're out.
This is where I met you, bro.
Yeah. And then where'd you hit then?
I moved up here to live with my father-in-law for a couple months. Long term, my wife now was my girlfriend at the time, so we moved up here, saved up some money to get an apartment kind of style. First job here, well, I had 2 interviews, Retro Fitness and LA Fitness, and I liked LA Fitness better.
Oh, yeah.
But actually, I like the dude with the mohawk that you're talking about. Talking about. I got a good vibe from him, good energy. Some people hated him, but it was a good crew. We had a killer crew of trainers, man.
I know, it was interesting, man.
But LA Fitness is a weird business model. So, like, initially when they pop up a club, they put a ton of time. Like, it's not a retention club. Like, not many people that start training there stay there.
Yeah.
As far as employees and as far as, like, actual people that are being trained.
Yeah, it's like the number one growth.
Whereas there's just, 2 trainers there now, where we had, 6?
At least.
Full time?
And they were all pretty, a lot of them are still doing it right now. Like, it wasn't like we just had some people that quit, they just got
quit actually being trainers?
Well, some people did an online cert, got hired, and then who knows what they're doing now. But there's 5 or 6 people, I feel like, that are still doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Big Lou?
That's cool. Lou, Linda.
Yeah, Big Lou, Ted. V still doing
Snow
it?
Deezy.
I don't know what Ricky's doing.
Me either, man.
Don't lie, that's your boy, bro.
So, yeah, I mean, and the other thing, too, when we're talking about, the retention and all that with these clubs is that we might have we got a kid starting up here soon, and I think the thing that we did, so nobody wants to do nobody wants to work at the commercial gyms, really. They just want to kind of go to these private gyms or a CrossFit gym and try to get in the trenches right away and like do all this cool stuff with sleds and ropes and all this other crap. But yeah, I think it made total sense. I mean, you were there for like 6 or 7 years. I did maybe like 4 years. I don't even know. Maybe 3 to 5 years, somewhere in that range. But you work at these commercial gyms and they just fill your book for you. So as long as you make yourself available and you're willing to work, they'll find people for you to train. And you get like thousands of sessions like every year.
Yeah, I mean, networking is like out of control.
That too.
It's a great way to just meet people. I still stay in touch with a lot of people from like 8 years ago, which is pretty amazing. I mean, the gym is what it is. It's I mean, it's got an awesome set of dumbbells. There's a ton of machines. It's whatever. Like but
it's not like you could blame the gym for anything because they have everything that you. They have all the basic things that you need. So. But
LA Fitness was a great start because I was probably getting like 55. They were like yelling at me for working overtime. They're like, we don't want to pay you on this overtime because I was training like 55 plus hours a week and we weren't supposed to do that. But it was that easy to fill people. And the cool thing about a corporate gym too, if we're talking about like people getting involved in the industry, is like the fishbowl aspect. So like we would get commission on sales, but like people would just come up to you and be like, yo, I see what you're doing with Fiegel. I'm loving it. Like, how do I get involved in this? Whereas in a private gym setting like this, you don't get that at all. So you really need to learn how to like pipeline more so and like go after things. Referral based is really my whole business. Yeah.
But I mean, all the stuff that you did and it's same with kind of getting started for myself was like all of that stuff, just kind of planted all the seeds so that, with the word of mouth, like I don't really do a lot of marketing at all. It's just kind of a word of mouth situation going on. And I just think for the, long-term sustainability, those are the people that usually stay with you. But that stuff would have never happened if you didn't work these thousands of hours. And you
just get self-improvement. You just get better. Like
75-year-old people, they can't walk.
You're obviously way better at what you do now coaching than you were 8 years ago.
Yeah, true, yeah.
And if you're not, you wouldn't still be a coach.
Yeah. But I mean, you get the whole gamut of people. High school kids,
to geriatrics,
to like 4 women, and all at the same time.
Don't want to work out?
No, but they come anyway every week, and it's tough. Yeah, you have to navigate all this stuff. It's pretty crazy.
A lot more weight loss stuff back then. A lot of people that just want to lose weight.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so much stuff. I mean, obviously, we're learning a lot more as you get older.
We're kids now.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I mean, if I was doing that stuff now, I think I'd be like 100 times better. Just you think back to some of the stuff that I don't know about you, but some of the stuff that I would do, it was like. I don't know. You just like to get out of there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But well, even the stuff we did, like how we trained personally, has adapted and evolved so much since then. Yeah. But you were like straight crushing yourself.
Oh yeah, I did. I worked out all the time. What was that program?
Explosive Lit.
No, it was Dos Remedios. Robert Dos Remedios. Dude, great book. Power Training. Yeah. Great book. But anyway, the template. Just to not go into too much detail, it's probably like 10 to 12 exercises, and you're hitting everything imaginable. Pushing, pulling in this direction, pushing, pulling overhead, a squat, something to work the backside. So like something where you're hinging at your hips, something with the knee bend, so a squat, and something explosive right off the bat. So I think I was probably doing like some Olympic lift stuff, heavy lifts across the board, and a bunch of and then core stuff at the end. Anyway, it's like
2 hours
he's laughing, but this guy he worked out for 2 hours yesterday. So I don't know what he should be laughing about. But
he's counting my warm-up that was lackluster to say
nowadays,
the most. I was getting mentally ready. You can't count that. Most people get to drive to the gym. I'm already here.
Warm-up's more important.
Warm-up's more important than actual work?
I think so, if you want to feel good.
For adaptation?
Right now, me and you.
Depends
I feel a lot better when I warm up. No?
But what's your goal?
to get a good session in.
You're just saying acutely during your warm-up you feel better?
Some more warm-up
action. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Especially when it's cold like this.
Yeah.
For sure, 100%.
So Dos Remedios, great book. If you need a template to go off of, get it. But it's a lot of work.
I was still doing stupid stuff like training to failure. Yeah. Busting out an arm day once in a while. Not big on compound movements.
No.
Just some machine stuff.
Times are different, man.
Yeah. Now we're just ripping barbells and kettlebells around. Yeah. Rip a couple sleds, call it a day. Man, it works.
But I mean, the LA Fitness model, we got out of that. Why?
Compensation, 100%.
That's true.
There was no model to improve your situation financially.
Yeah.
They changed some stuff like corporately too that was kind of annoying sometimes, but really at some point you got to start making more than $12-18 an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy thinking like how much
money I made. Yeah, because you got to think my apartment was $1,000. I was $1,000 combined in student loan debt, like making, I think we actually started at 12. and then maxed out at 18, so it doesn't add up ever.
No.
And you kind of feel abused by the system because they're giving you like what, 15% of the money?
Probably.
Yeah.
And somebody cancels or something, you're not really seeing anything. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, if people don't come in, you're not getting paid.
LA Fitness, we did.
They did?
Yeah.
Well, then if you don't have anything in your schedule,
24-hour cancellation policy.
All right. But if you're there 8 hours, you only got 2.5 hours of
for sure. You're only getting paid for that.
So then that's kind of where everybody gets like dejected. But anyway, you just got to ride it out, stay in the game, and if you actually want to do it long term, go get a job at a corporate gym. Make yourself as available as possible.
It really is good advice.
And then just go from there and be patient with it.
Deal with the bull crap. Meet as many people as you can. Network as much as you can. And just keep getting better.
Because we just used
reading, getting better, learning, working with more people, man.
Transition, like we did that stuff, and then on the side just started kind of working out of a private kind of sector situation there. It was in the same area, so it was like it was kind of a nice little transition, but also just a change of pace where if some people from the LA Fitness or the corporate gym, you know, got sick of doing or whatever, they just wanted some variety. I mean, they just had to drive 5 minutes down the road, and
just a better atmosphere in general.
It was, yeah, nice big like warehouse style building.
It's awesome.
Ropes.
Still miss that 50 yards AstroTurf.
Some serious length of turf. So, I mean, just transitioning into that, I mean, LA Fitness, you got anybody from like 10-year-old to like a 75-year-old. And then what did you start getting into when you switched over to that private sector and you went to that other gym down the road? Like,
so I definitely started getting more exposed to sports performance training at that point. But I've always kept working with general population clients as well. But definitely got more into sports performance training as well as like group sports performance training, so like larger numbers of kids, like more high school kids, more middle school kids, but like teams and stuff like that, which is a completely different game than private training, 100%. But that was a good situation too, learning about like being, because you're basically self-employed at that point because we're both contractors.
For sure.
So you got to like learn, you know, the accounting side of it. You got to learn, you know, taxes, and at this whole time, then you start learning about sales, marketing, filling your own book, doing your referrals and all that stuff too, which is like super important too. I think some people might be really good at training people, but they'll never get the other side of it.
Yeah, if nobody knows that you're there or whatever,
Yeah,
that's a tough part too. Is that's like a whole nother freaking class right there. Like no matter what you think you know, like it's really nothing until you actually get in it. Then you realize like whatever your plan was initially is just going to get thrown out, and then you got to start doing the like word of mouth and all. I don't know. I still even think to this day where like there's so much like internet marketing sales and stuff going on, but when it comes down to it, it's just like talking to people and like the people that you know or the people that like
it's just organic growth, somebody, man.
Yeah, it is. I think that's
organic growth is, I think, king
because everybody's doing like, you know, not the organic stuff, and so I think if you're like a
depends
little bit
what your
different,
end game is too, though.
If you're like the outlier, if everybody wants to market one certain way, and if you do things a little bit differently, even if it is like an older version of things, like you could probably still have success doing it just because it's actually like a personal connection thing, and it's not like an email web blast or some Facebook ad or Instagram ad or something like that. Like I think, I don't know. I just think the personal connection and known is like, it's kind of the way to go. But we went with. But
it depends if you need hundreds of people or like.
Yeah, that's actually.
You know what I mean? Like I do a lot of PT and like privatized training, so I do like 1 to 3 people at a time. Whereas, you know, someone down the street that needs 20 people per class.
They need to do that. They need to do that for
sure.
I
would think they would need to pump some more money into social media marketing and stuff like that. Seems to have a
little
bit of a hit.
You're definitely right. That's my business is the same setup there, so I didn't even think of that side of things just because I haven't been thinking about it at all. But yeah.
End game.
Yep. Privatized training. Group training.
Why privatized training? Why?
Why'd you like
lower coach to athlete ratio? Yeah.
What about That's what the parents want to hear too, right?
No, I mean it's true though, bro. If they get more attention, they're going to progress faster.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about progressive overload, getting them quality motions, and keeping them in the game.
And then you build.
If they keep coming and you make them better every day, like good things are going to happen.
You get
to know. Story. Yeah.
You get to make them feel good about what they're doing because they're doing better things.
Is phenomenal. Especially for youth.
Yeah, they need
adolescents. Oh my gosh.
Well, before we got on here, it was like, so I worked at a high school, and it was, say, a kid that played. So we would train pretty hard just because, I don't know, because I was coaching. And I wanted to. It was kind of what I was doing in the real world. So it's like we're going to train pretty hard, whether it's 3 days a week, 4 days a week, right? So you look at some of these other sports, and you would look at, say, like the 15th strongest kid on the football team. he would be the strongest kid on another sports team like soccer, lacrosse, because those kids aren't training, but they're still the same age. Or even like the young kids, the 9th grader that plays football that lifted weights for 1 year is going to be probably in better shape, genetics aside. Like some kid could just be a phenom, but like they're going to be in better shape than that senior kid if he never picked up a weight. And it was like night and day. It's like from age 13 to 17.
Part of that's like
it's like a sweet spot for training.
Linear training in general, though, like too, like something like lacrosse, soccer, female sports we talk about a lot because they're just not. They're just kind of neglected, and they can have some of the best benefit from it.
Yeah, seriously.
And even the ones that do, I would say, like, softball programs, people run these like preseason programs. They're like these like short-term things. Like they're not going to reap the same benefits as training for a couple months.
Yeah.
Or training freshman year, sophomore year, junior season. Like you're talking about years of training. Like that's chronic adaptation. Good things are really, really going to happen. And if they just train for 6 weeks, they'll get some stuff, but it's going to go away. It will. It's something like you got to constantly work at. Like it's not a, it's not a magic thing.
I don't remember the days or the numbers off, but that triphasic book, triphasic training, it's like there's some residual training effects that survive. So if you're doing strength training, you might be able to keep that stuff for like 37 days or something until you see more than like a 2 or 4%, decrement or deficit, whatever. So like for certain aspects, like let's say you don't strength train, as long as you don't exceed that time parameter of like whatever, 35, 38, whatever the 40 days, that's okay. So you could vary your training a bit, or you could actually take some time off, focus on some other things, as long as you circle back to like that one parameter within like that time span. But if you're only going,
just think about in-season training.
Right.
I mean, kids can stay in an in-season training program, train once every week, once every 10 days, and just work them up to a pretty high intensity, but cut the volume a lot. And they're gonna stay powerful, they're gonna stay strong, they're gonna keep their lean muscle mass. It's not like a huge commitment at those times, because at those times you need a more sport-specific, skill-based. So that's when you should be getting really good at your sport.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff you're just trying to maintain at that level.
And you don't want to train. You don't want to prepare yourself for week one either. Like the playoffs are at the end of the year, so it's like if you get into the season and you do all this preseason work and you're feeling you're strong as you're ever going to be in the beginning of the year, but then you don't train throughout the season, you're going to just see a big deficit. And then at the end of the year, like we'd have some kids that would lose like
that's
10
why
or
like
12
a peaking
pounds,
program needs to go into an in-season program.
Yeah, which is tough to navigate, and it's tough to get
100%.
coaches on board with.
Yeah.
Taking time away from. I think that's
which is kind of funny if you think about like college level and like professional level sports, which you think you would kind of like try to mirror. Like those people are putting that time in.
Yeah, but like the
training
coaches,
programs.
But I think it's because they have the staff. Because you hear like, remember John Gruden?
Valid.
I don't know about this year, but like back in the day, he would show up at 3:47 every day. So it's like these coaches want to just put in. I don't get it. It's like they brag. It's the only job. I don't know who said this, but I saw this and thought it was great. Coaching football is the only job where people brag about how much they actually work. So it's John Gruden getting in at 3:47 and being there until, who knows, sleeping in the office overnight.
Needs to read the 4-hour work week for sure.
Well, Tony Dungy's books, he would get his staff home. They were like one night a week they had to stay late, and other than that, they would get
John Gruden book, I Love Football?
I didn't read the Gruden book. I just remember him saying he would show up every day at like 3:47 or something. Yeah. But anyway.
Splicing film back in the day before they had all that technology.
It just trickles down to high school too, where, you have 45 minutes, say. Do you want to spend time in the weight room or out there running the same play over and over again 75 times? Most football coaches want to run the same stuff over and over again instead of trying to work on some physical qualities that will help.
We're going to make them better.
Yeah, improve. Anyway.
Injury prevention, sports performance.
But I think it's because they don't know. We talked about even with the girls.
It's like beating a dead horse, though.
And we talked about like when you were whenever you started playing football, like you weren't exposed to football, and then you were able to make these large improvements. So like a lot of these kids, whether it's like the youth kids or like even just female athletes in general, like they're not exposed to it at all, so they can make these huge gains. So like when you get older and get into college, you're not totally like
peaked out.
You're not peaked out. Yeah. You still have some room for growth. So we
didn't play year-round sport either, though.
No, I know. And the specialization stuff,
or I didn't at least.
We only like kind of just scratched the surface there when you were just all the sports you played. But I talked to a guy yesterday, and he was just talking about his daughter playing softball or whatever, and it was just like she's kind of fed up with it, or just wanted to play on a lesser, not all these college showcase stuff like that. Just want to kind of take it down just a notch, maybe less competitions and all that. And it's just like,
do you think a lot of parents push their kids into that, even though the kid's not really into it?
I think they might think that they need to, but there's zero evidence that supports it. Like there's zero evidence That's 100% fact.
From a recruiting standpoint, or saying
that you need to specialize and go to 25
you.
showcases a year.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Boyle again. I mean, he's just like pick and choose.
People just think more is better. Yeah.
Pick and choose. Like find two to four showcases.
Yeah.
Go to those. Train though. Like don't stop training. Like you should be working out. Like you don't have to play your sport.
Remember when Dan John talked about a quadrant 1 thing? Like anybody under 18 should be just trying to learn as like many motor patterns as possible. So like
we could just keep name dropping.
I would name dropping.
Brett Jones. Brett Jones.
Chris Fiegel.
He talked about the glass. So the more qualities you can learn at a young age, the bigger your glass, the more stuff you can fit into it.
Yeah.
When you're older.
It makes sense though.
Total sense.
You should be exposed to as many things as possible.
Yeah. Agreed. Absolutely.
Develop a vast motor vocabulary, I would call it.
So we're talking. I mean, we should just probably keep it rolling on this subject, maybe because it is a big issue with like. You're
talking about specialization or year-round sport?
I think so. Just about training, like in general. So like.
Well, I think there's a lot of negatives that come out of specialization in sport and year-round training too. And I think there's.
Let's hear them. What do you got?
Okay, so I think training year-round is a big reason why kids are having a lot of specific injuries that are specific to that sport earlier.
Training year-round in that sport.
In that sport, yeah.
Right, yes.
But also sports. So what I try to consider myself doing is sports performance training. So I'm increasing these attributes that I think are going to help them perform on the field. But I think there's still a lot of places that do sports-specific training with their strength and conditioning. So like doing things like, say throwing, a kid is pitching year-round, right? And then they're overloading this throwing motion. Like stuff like that, or like swinging a weighted bat, like these things where you're not actually developing the force that you need to make it happen.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's a double-edged sword. It's like people want to get too specific to this one task that it's creating overuse injuries, and it's actually, I mean, the best way to get good at something is to keep doing it. If you're going to get injured and go in and out of, say, a surgery or rehab and all these things, like, you're never going to get good.
Yeah,
you're never going to perform at your peak level for sure. Your performance isn't going to be optimal.
Don't.
So stay healthy.
Don't mix them together. So if you're in the weight room, focus on your goal for the weight room that day. Like you're there to build strength. You're there to build power, whatever it is. And then when you go into the football field or wrestling room or basketball court, that's when you focus on your skills.
100%.
You don't try to,
like it shouldn't be this hybrid.
You don't try to dribble through a ladder and doing all this other stuff, or dribble and do. I don't know. Yeah, I think you keep the things separate and you focus on the qualities for sport. They need to be improved.
Yeah,
in isolation. Let's break it down. Focus on this stuff,
sure.
And then that stuff's going to carry over to the sports.
And I'm not saying like you can do an assessment based on their strength and conditioning program and be like, this is what is really going to help, posturally and what they need specific to that sport, and develop a strength and conditioning program based on like those attributes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily saying a swimmer has to do exactly what a football player is doing to do and things like that. There can be some like wiggle room, but it doesn't need to be so specific to a motion.
Yeah.
Like these kids need to develop power. They need to,
don't train a football player and a cross country runner
the same way.
Yeah. Just because the sports are different.
Yeah. Unless they're at a very fundamental level, and then it's probably going to be comparable.
They can learn everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Because at that base level, they need to learn how to hinge, squat, push, pull, carry.
Well, there's that.
But it's true, and
training age,
and at that relative strength levels are so weak. Like you need to, before you would get more and more specific, or more based on a sport, fundamental levels should be reached of the relative strength.
And then the fundamental levels, it's not about how old you are. It's not like your chronological age. It's about your training age.
For sure.
I think I had a brother and a sister in here a couple years ago. One was going Division I, the other one was going Division III for sports, right? The male strength trained, say, for 5 years. The girl was about to go to college, never worked out before. So it's like you can't put that girl, say they were twins or something like that. If they were both seniors, they can't be on the same program because the girl never worked out. So her training age is at 0, whereas the other kid, her twin brother, same age, born the same day, almost the same minute, he's got 5 years experience. So it's like he's more advanced.
There's got to be a logical progression.
So it's like it doesn't –
based on
you could be 14 and
experience.
Have 2 years of training, and your foundational skills – like you might already be past that foundation program in a sense, that introductory program, but that 18-year-old, 17-year-old girl that never did anything, she was never exposed to it, and you're going to like have to introduce it. You're going to have to teach them how to squat and do all these other movements and do it like safely and carefully before you really try to overload. So I think that's another thing too, where it's like the high school kid who's 15 who's like, oh, my brother played baseball in college, I'm following his strength and conditioning program.
Why?
But the kid in college had 6 years of training experience. Yeah. You have 0. You shouldn't be doing the same program that somebody that had 6 years of training did. So that's another thing too.
So a lot of our things start with movement though, and like progress from like kettlebells into barbell movements, and I think give like kids a chance to like focus on like a quality movement before actually I mean, you can progressively overload with kettlebells too. Just keep doing it, you know, and stuff like that.
But that's like,
it doesn't have, you don't have to get a kid, you know, ripping hang cleans at max effort the first day you see them. Like it's probably an unintelligent way to train somebody, but it happens, dude.
Yeah.
It happens.
I was just saying too, because
or a 10-year-old on a D1 Alabama program, stupid too.
We kind of do it, right? But
that's back to why we do it with 1 to 3 people, because we can cover this ground faster than one person and 24.
Yeah.
You know, a whole team comes in with 24 kids, and you're trying to expose them all at the same level, or one kid. The one kid is going to pick it up so much quicker, and it's going to be so much more specific to them individually, and it's just going to happen at a much more rapid pace. You're going to get where you want to go faster. When do you think kids should start training?
I don't know, whenever, really. I don't think it's a big deal when they start.
I think it's a maturity thing more than anything. I don't think they used to preach that epiceel plates, like your plates enclosed and you can injure them. I think that's all like old jargon. I think it's like if you can take coaching, you can train. So like if you would be mature enough to listen to what I say, and that could be a 6-year-old could listen better than a 12-year-old dude. So like they have to be able to have the maturity to interact with the coach and actually like be responsive, but you got to provide that environment as well.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's an age
have,
thing.
Like, somebody that knows what they're. Yeah. You have to do age-appropriate things, obviously. Like if you have a 6-year-old going, I mean, you've seen some of the kids I've worked with in here. Yeah. I've had 4 or 5-year-olds, and it doesn't really matter. We roll around, we jump around.
Yeah.
They're doing stuff on the playgrounds anyway and stuff.
I would rip kettlebells and stuff with them too. They can learn how to swing, squat. Why not?
I told you this.
Dude, I think it's more aggressive to do like chin-ups and rope climbs and stuff physically than it is to swing a 10 or a 15, 20-pound kettlebell for these kids.
So it's like when you talk about...
And you can teach it patterning first before actually applying load. So they learn how to move their body, add a little bit of load, add a little bit of load, add a little bit of load. It's relatively safe.
What's that number where it's like, you know, if every stride you take when you're running is like 7 times your body weight of force, I feel like. Is it 7?
I'm not sure. Going upstairs is 4 times.
So even that, or like jumping off.
Compared to walking, though.
So go see what a kid does every day. A 6-year-old on the playground. He's running, jumping, climbing.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're not going to be trying.
How are they absorbing the force when they land jumps, right?
Right. They're doing more dangerous stuff when they play sports, or play play in general. So it's like we're obviously not going to try to load them up with weight that they can't handle. But if they could carry weight around, they could do a jump, a squat.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff we do, if you think about a farmer's walk, are things primitively people have always done.
Yeah.
You know, people used to carry more buckets around. People, you know.
I like the young kids.
Load it up.
Kids, the young guys,
kids are awesome.
They bring the energy.
Yeah.
Like whatever you
could fit. They get the most out of it too, I think.
Whatever you could fit in an hour session with like a 15-year-old, you got to do like double with like a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
Just freaking. Well, not all. Not all.
Q1 athlete thing, exposing to more things. Like, yeah.
I mean,
their energy is wild.
I know.
But they love it.
They run to get a water. They run to get a drink of water, whereas high school dudes are like, yo,
mosey over.
Yo, check my phone.
Check my DMs.
Now we have to yo, Frank, check this out. Stuff like that. Yeah, but
did you see that flying squirrel, that Lehigh kid?
And they always want to get on the. They always want
fantasy
to get
football, man.
They always want to get their music on. They're always worried about the music for some reason.
We got to put that mumble rap on, bro.
We got. So with that, I think we're pretty good in that regard, man. What else do we want to talk about? We talked about the kids, training age, multi-sport stuff. You could probably go on for a long time on that. Before we get into what we're doing, let's get into the strength stuff. The importance of it.
Importance of strength? Like vital, man. I'm talking about huge.
Why do you want kids to jack steel?
Injury prevention. I think it's multi-purpose for sure. All right, I'll get into it a little bit here. All right, so I think from a sports performance standpoint, I think it's really cool that they can excel at a sport, because with strength training, if you increase their relative strength, they're going to have the best chance. Some kids aren't genetically gifted, first of all, but they're going to have the best chance to maximize things like speed, things like jumping ability, and all these things that could translate to a sport. Injury prevention, I think getting in a long-term program is great for injury prevention. I think these kids are going to get hurt less in and out of sport. I think they're going to increase, lean muscle mass, increase tendon density, bones, like build up bone mass, like all these things are like great. Like, so you're looking at physical components, but you're also looking at like psychological stuff, like these kids like building self-esteem. Like you feel good when you work out, man. You feel good hitting a number you didn't hit before.
But
you can apply that to life. That's work. They're putting work in there, man. Yeah. And kids just get better because they're start at a crap level. You know?
Yeah, that's the best
Like
part.
there's a lot of very weak. America's very weak.
They're frail.
Frail, bro. Anti-frail. Only plug of the day. Boom.
But with the like a lot of parents are like, man, the confidence thing is real, especially with boys. Like they, guys are like, well, girls are the same, but they're just two different things. So it's like,
you go through different periods too, I think.
And they show confidence in different
faster.
ways.
Yeah.
Guys, start feeling good, and you see them like, yeah, and all that crap, and it's
yoked.
funny. You just gotta kind of gas them up and let them know that they are.
Yeah, but they're looking better. They're feeling better.
Yeah.
Like
they're doing a good thing.
They're performing better. Like you're gonna feel good too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
and then in addition to all that too, like the injury prevention stuff and like a lot of things that show up when people do get hurt, it's like just not having the control. Like you want to build the strength, right? You want to build the strength to like control your body and all these different things. So
especially deceleration, I would think.
Yeah, so it's like
eccentric loading of movements can be based on like
you got to be able to absorb.
We do comparable things.
You can put out a bunch of energy, but if you can't absorb energy, and when you go to make that plant and cut, you see like a knee wobble or something like that. That's where you're going to get hurt. So you could train
and poor movement patterns in general, I think.
And those are the attributes you could train in the weight room. So it's like it should be a part of it. You could. Yeah, it needs to be a part of the training, in my opinion, no matter really how.
But I think strength is multi across the board, man. Yeah. You need to address strength first. Well, I'm saying with kids should get stronger. I'm saying teenagers should get stronger, trying to play sports or not.
70-year-olds.
70-year-olds. Bro, might be more important, man. Every decade you're going to lose lean muscle mass. You're going to lose bone mass. Guys' testosterone levels are going to go down every decade. Like sustaining lean muscle mass might be preventing you from having a fall, or maybe you're in a car accident. You have a little bit more lean muscle mass. You don't break your clavicle. Like it's like building muscle is going to prevent. This is like building like an ability to take trauma too. Like this like body armor, dude.
Yeah.
So you need to be strong, just like functionality wise. Like people getting older can't walk upstairs. They can't get out of the chair as well. Like, can you imagine staying strong through those decades? Like, you're not going to have a lot of the same issues.
Yeah, 100%. And it was, I don't even remember what it was. I shared it on the
Turkish Get Up.
No,
I was just going to talk about falls.
People that I don't even remember the numbers, but I'll just bring it. So if you have if you're an elderly, say I don't know, 65, 75, if your muscle mass is higher going into like this hospital setting, like your chances of recovery are
exponentially
greater,
though. I think it's not even like it's not
it's
small
a game
at all.
changer
It's crazy.
for sure. So
well, that's like going into surgery. It's the stronger you are going into, like saying you're having a knee surgery. Stronger you are going in, the faster your recovery is going to be. The more likely you're going to regain full functionality. Like it's a game changer.
Likes it. The body likes lean muscle. Operates a lot better. Lean muscle.
Lean muscle mass. You need that muscle to be able to move, bro.
So now we are gonna we opened up a little bit
strength training
on the internet.
We need to talk about anything else.
No, I think we got the strength. We talked about
start with
whole
strength.
Population.
Yeah.
Stronger.
Relative absolute strength, address power.
Try to be as strong as possible as you can be. Like why you wouldn't want it that, I don't know. But try to boost as much strength. Try to get strong. And then the other side of things is the nutrition side of things. We're talking about lean muscle mass. So it's like you don't want to be – you could build a lot of strength, but you could also kind of do some negative effects if you're eating like 17,000 calories a day. So not all strength training puts on this like huge muscle mass either. And a lot of the questions we got –
so that's contractibility.
Which even a lot of what we talk about –
increase contractibility, get stronger without gaining muscle.
Yeah.
Which people think they're just going to get bulky, which is –
it doesn't.
Especially in females, it's just not true.
Yeah.
They don't have the same like hormone, like their endocrine system is completely different. So it's very challenging. Women with a lot of muscle worked really hard to get that muscle and ate a lot of food to get that muscle, like for a long period of time.
If you stay the same body weight, but you're like
getting
60 pounds stronger, your body fat percentage is
you're probably getting leaner, yeah, 100%.
I don't think it's even possible, really. Like I don't even think the answer could be no.
Yeah.
Like I think it's like almost a fact. If your strength's going up, body weight stays the same, you got to have more lean muscle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so
you're less soft.
Food. A lot of questions on nutrition coming in. We asked a lot of people. They want to know. My boy
it's
Stevie
funny we're
Herbo,
talking to strength coaches about nutrition. Though.
Stevie Herbo.
Your boy Carnivore Diet. Check out Chris Bell. No, it's an interesting to think about. It's not definitely not what I push.
So here's the thing.
Rhonda Patrick is against it, I believe.
Rhonda Patrick is a genius. So if you can check out her podcast on Joe Rogan, her Found My Fitness stuff, she touches on a a lot of stuff. So I'm going to talk about what I do. Yeah,
she does time restricted eating.
Time restricted eating,
both of us are
whatever. It's the same kind of setup. So she has on the one that I thought was awesome. I'm not a female, but this applies to a lot of women that we're probably directly affected with. Is Ruth Patterson was on, and breast cancer. So basically, what they did was say all these women in the study that had breast cancer, they got treated. When they left, they put these females on this time restricted eating. I think it was 10 hours, but it could have been 12 hours, their eating window. So it didn't matter what you ate. They didn't even restrict any foods. They didn't restrict calories. They just said keep it in this 12-hour window. And the chance of the relapse, or however you want to word it, the chance that these individuals got cancer again just dropped significantly. And so I heard that one. Then I hear this guy, they have Walter Longo on there, Sachin Panda. They're talking about all these benefits, right? So basically what it comes down to is like whatever you consume is either going to fuel, it could fuel good things. It could also fuel negative things. So if you have disease in your body, if you're eating a lot of sugary foods or something like that, you could feed more disease. So, if different, IGF-1, say, remember the supplement back in the day, Ray Lewis got bumped with it, insulin-like growth factor. Yeah, but I think IGF-1 might have been in that. Like that was.
Maybe.
So
it's
anyway,
naturally occurring too.
So, if you pump IGF-1, which some bodybuilders say is like a great thing, but if you have an illness like cancer, say IGF-1 is going to fuel that cancer cell, right? So it's like.
Or like human
all
growth hormone.
Yeah, it'll just
going to human growth hormone is going to rebuild whatever, it's going to multiply the cells. So you probably build muscle mass, but if you had cancer in your body, you're going to have more cancer cells too.
Yeah.
Kind of that vibe. But I think the process of which all that, part of that is gut health, I think, and immune system function by like having these eating windows. But I think the process you're talking about is like autophagy. So it's like this is like recycling of cells. So like during fasting windows, your body's actually getting rid of all this crap cells, and it's allowing like you to shut down organs that are usually overused, just because like how we were, I would say, brought up. People saying 3 square meals a day, or even
more, 5
say
or
when we
6.
started, I'm talking like 7. People were talking about you got to eat 7 meals a day, bringing Tupperwares, getting all carcinogens out of the plastic back in the day. But it's just not true. And they but people are doing OMADs and eating 1 time a day and just eating really large meals and having great results from it, man.
But it's what you're saying too with the cells. Basically, it's like you starve cells by not eating. You don't feed them, so. The bad ones are going to get flushed out. Yeah. And I think also with the gut health situation, there's like, you can't, if you eat 6 meals a day, your guts are constantly digesting food, constantly working. So back in the day, in that mind, it was like, you're always burning energy because it takes energy to metabolize food and break it down. But
population based.
But at the end
if you're a bodybuilder at 5% body fat, you need to get 3. And you got to eat 7 meals a day, and you're trying to process that food onto the next meal, onto the next meal, onto the meal. Like, you're processing that food. So if you're looking at a person that is overweight or has a problem, like, it might not be the best strategy for him. Yeah. Especially because, like, I think with fasting too, you're talking about hormones with IGF-1 and as well as insulin and stuff. But I'm talking about like insulin sensitivity. Like, I feel is greatly improved by having these windows too. So you're not constantly making, your pancreas create insulin, and your body, what's your body doing? If you're having carbohydrates, it's going to store it as fat and stuff like that. So you're constantly getting flooded with this, and your body's saying like I don't even know how to deal with this anymore. Whereas if you have fasting windows, you're more receptive,
I think also too is like, basically what you eat too. Like, I know that's another part of it as well. But like.
Talking about like quality food?
But the fasting windows just gives you guidelines too to follow.
It's just easy too.
And if you think about it, I mean, I get up pretty early, so if I were to eat breakfast, like right when I woke up,
it just means break
4:30 or 5 a.m.
Doesn't matter when it is.
And then I'm here tonight until 7 p.m. If I go home and eat something, I'm consuming food for like 14 plus hours. So it's like, do I really need to have this long period of eating, or could I just?
We have more active jobs. A lot of people are more sedentary than us.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll cut it at like 9 to 10 hours probably. So like 2:30-ish from, so the time restricted eating. Yeah.
So we eat a lot differently.
We do.
But we both fast.
Just with me, if I drink something, so I'll probably drink coffee, say right in the morning. That's going to kickstart my window. And then 9 or 10 hours after that point, say it's 5 a.m., that's when I'm just going to stop eating. Do I do it every day? No. Do I wish I did? Probably. But there's some days where I just kind of fall off the wagon, or some periods of time if you're traveling, or I don't know, whatever. Just life happens sometimes. So I don't always follow it. And then your system.
So I do more of an
mine's front loaded. Yeah, mine's front loaded.
I do more of an intermittent fasting system in general. So I'm not eating in the morning. I'm only eating at night, really. But I'm doing intermittent fasting. So right now I'm currently fasting 3 days a week. I do the OMAD Monday and Wednesday. So I only eat one meal a day. Yeah. Monday I fasted for like 26 hours before consuming food. Originally when I got into fasting, I was doing 4 days a week. And that's when I originally had initial weight loss. Yeah, so I would had the fasting window That's when I lost 40 pounds. Originally doing it that way.
You able to hold the line on that? Did you gain any back?
Nah, I feel
You're
good.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel stronger doing it 3 days a week though. And I'm a big Thomas DeLauer guy who says you shouldn't be like fasting every day. So some guys only have So I'll have I could do a 26 or 16 to 24 hour fast, and the next day I'll have a shake in the morning, dude.
I knew you were gonna sneak his name in somewhere.
Check him out, Thomas DeLauer.
So we basically come at it with like two different approaches. My calorie intake is front loaded in the mornings. I kind of do that just because I'm just worried about getting to bed. I go to bed pretty early, so like I don't want to eat late in the night because I don't want to be digesting food. I do have a little system where I just don't want to eat before bed.
Mine's more lifestyle based because I can like wake up, grind, get everything I want to do from for work.
But when I used to coach football,
I'm productive, dude, when I fast.
Like if
smash it then.
If I cut eating at 2:30, I'm coming to work whatever time it is from 3 to 6 or 3 to 7. I go home and I'm like ready. I'm putting in like the go to bed mode then.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't even think about food then. But then I
like
just
eating
pack
food better. Sleep like a baby, bro.
See, I'm the opposite. So from 3 to 7, I'm busy. So it's like I'm not even thinking about food because I'm working. So it doesn't even matter. But and then yours is the other way around. You sneak in some 24-hour plus fast. This isn't stuff that we really recommend to anybody though.
This is just what we're personally doing. I'm not a nutritionist. I don't recommend anybody do it. If you're interested in it, I would look more into it.
That's the only reason we're name dropping.
I really like it. Yeah, that's the only reason we name drop. Yeah.
Yeah. Do your own research because and
not everything's gonna work for different people, man.
And we had some questions that were like, what is the best or where do people fail the most? So that's what I was just going with. Like the number one struggle thing with eating, and I just think it's not adhering to a plan.
It's willpower. Everything works if they do it. Like people, you can take multiple different, nutritional strategies, different diets, but if you don't actually do it, it's not going to work.
So we got it.
So I think the
Fieg's
biggest
hooking
part
us up in the background here with some questions we have to answer.
It's like people say they want to do it and then they try something and they don't actually follow through. So I think
Frank
you can do a lot
40?
of different things and happen.
Why were you able to lose 40? Because
I stuck to what I was doing.
You adhere to the plan, and you have certain guidelines that you follow. And same with me. I don't like.
This guy's a specimen physique-wise.
Not true, but
he's pretty healthy.
I don't. So eating too. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go to some other stuff too. We're good, Fiegel. But so the importance of nutrition is good because when we talk about just some people that are in my life, they have like different autoimmune condition. So like 5-6 years ago, I read this book, The Grain Brain, and it kind of changed everything. My whole approach because it was like, if you have diabetes, you're twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's. So they're like some of these foods that trigger diabetes are potentially the same foods that are going to give you some brain deterioration down the road. So I started reading stuff like that. Girlfriend has autoimmune disease, so I just kind of got on board with what she was doing. And like, gluten, corn, soy, dairy. When you think about it, you first start this eating plan, it's like the soy and corn show up in just about everything, which is so freaking weird.
It's not weird if you think about it, though.
But why? When you think about what you buy,
big crops that are forced.
I know that, but it's like when you think about what you're buying, it's like
you think it's healthy.
What is this? Like, why is there soy, lecithin and stuff? But anyway, cut that stuff out. So that's something that I do. Plus the time restricted eating.
Should we get a conspiracy theory right now?
No, I think it's the government.
I do. 100% do.
It's people trying to make some money. Now the importance of nutrition.
Greed ruins a lot of things.
The importance of nutrition. So I don't remember the exact numbers, but it just kind of comes down to this. Like you could have diet alone, and you could have workout alone, and you might say you run a study with somebody who just works out pretty hard, whatever, 4 or 5 days a week. I don't remember the exact details. The other group, they did the same workout program, but then they did some sort of, they would just follow an eating plan. And, one group's going to lose 2.3 pounds, which is fine. You still lost weight if you just did the strength training. But if you combine that with nutrition, your results are just going to be able to grow. I mean, you could strength train all you want. You could do this cardiovascular, high-intensity interval training stuff. But it's like, I
think it's overlooked to do, like, activities of daily living, like walking and stuff, too.
Yeah, I mean, there's all these
especially
different
for weight
ways.
loss people. Like, I would start them out walking and eating better. Like,
That's
make
all
it
you need
simple.
to do.
Like,
So it's not
walk
an
every day,
exercise.
start eating more vegetables. Dude, you switch out, like, some of this crap people are drinking, soda or something for water. You're talking about, like, insta progress.
And
then, like, strength training will come along.
Non-exercise activities.
HIIT training is great, but I think for only certain people. If you're not strong, you probably shouldn't be doing that stuff because you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So I would start with a base of strength before implementing, metabolic conditioning stuff.
You probably want to like walk to get fit before you run to get fit because if you just start hitting the trails, eventually you're probably just going to get broken down. So it's like,
well, even when people that are in super shape get broken down from running. It's all through one plane of motion.
Yeah.
Constant impacts.
We talked about the impact earlier. I mean, it's up there. Yeah. You think about whatever your body weight is, you multiply that by 7 to 9 times. I think it's the number.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of. That's just one step. Then if you
repeat
that
stay
for
longer.
a mile,
you know how to keep running longer. Put some time into strength training, bro.
Jackson Steele.
Yeah, Jackson Steele, bro.
So importance. We're talking. I think we're good on the food front, man.
Food.
Right? We good? Best diet.
The one best diet.
The best one.
100%.
Yeah. Bam.
Yeah. Check out quality and quantity of food if you're looking. Depending on, it's going to be goal based.
Workout alone's not going to get it done.
Not for most people.
Set reasonable goals. Try to hold the line more than like the fluctuation of weight.
I think just make it day by day. Stop. I think people will try to get from gain 1 pound of muscle. They want to gain 30 pounds of muscle, and like they don't realize like that's decades of work or whatever. Or weight loss. They want to lose 30 pounds. Like celebrate losing a pound, like 2 pounds a week. That's going to be sustainable long term. Like you got to take like embrace the process and take these little micro steps. Like it's got to be better every day, better every day, better every day. It can't be. It's just got to be that way. It seems to be the best way, the best method to succeed at anything.
And if you're like a 200 pounder, and if you lose 5% of your body weight, that's huge. Like you could feel a lot better if you're at 190 pounds than 200.
Yeah.
Like it's a big difference, and it's only 5%. So everybody, if you're weighing 200, you want to get down to 150. It's like you're not gonna. You got to get to 190. You got to be able to hold the line at 190 and not fluctuate and go back up to 200 before you could even think about 180 and 170. 160, So
we've dealt, going back to LA Fitness and a lot of that, dealing with it's just going to be harder for some people to lose weight if that's their goal, like certain age females are going to have a lot of trouble, and I think it's a lot of endocrine system gets into play, but I also think people kill their metabolism with like super restrictive diets for long periods of time, too much cardio, add more and more cardio and stuff like that. I think they really damage their engine.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be their body's going to try to hold on to everything. Like
3 or 4 years ago, there's women that were saying similar age group of say like 45 to 55 range, just totally struggling. They were just cutting calories big time, 1,100 calories a day. And I had no idea.
For sustained periods too. That's what's crazy.
Long periods, years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know what the heck to do with them and what even advice to give them because you can't restrict more. So, I'm at a conference and I don't even know where it was. It was right before we went to Indianapolis and I asked the dude that was there presenting, and he was just like, you got to just get them to eat more because their endocrine system, their hormonal stuff, everything is just so out of whack because they've been eating salads and, they're not really getting fuel. So their whole system, all the functions in their body aren't working the way that they should be. So you can't calorie restrict more if you're only getting 1,100 calories. You got to figure out ways to get like good nutrient-dense foods, even if it's like some high-fat foods like almonds or avocados. Put more olive oil or something on something. You could get some more calories without negatively affecting.
This is another thing I've seen. Talking about calorie restriction, another thing I've seen a lot of good results with is instead of like people going on a super restrictive thing, like saying like you wanted to lose 5 pounds or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So you like see how many calories you can really take and maintain your weight you're at.
Yeah.
And then like subtract a small amount, like 150 to 200 calories a day.
Yep.
Because then you can constantly be adding more to, like you have someplace to go. Like if you go, say you're smashing 3,000 calories a day now and you go to 1,100, where do you go next, man? Like there's nowhere to go.
No.
Like start gradually, make it a gradual process of like going into this calorie deficit.
I think adding.
You're just taking away, your success rate's going to go way down.
Yeah, I agree.
You're going too extreme.
Definitely. But, and then too, like adding good things as opposed to just restricting everything.
Restricting calories, yeah.
So it's like if somebody's not eating vegetables,
I've never seen a really, like, I didn't get to be an obese child by eating too much broccoli, bro.
Yeah.
Makes
sense. So if at that time, if it would have just been like, just eat a salad a day, who knows, you might have gotten some results without even thinking, without really changing too much of your lifestyle. Just trying to eat, something with some nutrients instead of who knows what, Lucky Charms and Snickers bars or whatever.
And like Butter Tubs, dude. Lucky Charms, you smash them.
Really? Smash
Cereal
them.
For sure. Popcorn, a real good kind with that like a trans fat like oil you dump on it.
Trans fat?
Bang, yeah, for sure. Bang
just
it.
crushing it.
Bang it.
You know what though?
But I eat good foods too. I just ate way too much foods.
Yeah.
But if
what else we got in the nutrition front? We're good,
point.
Right?
Nutrition standpoint, ride or die. We're good.
Figs, what do we forget, bro?
Come on, Figs, get in this.
All right, guys, where are we going to find this bad boy? Let's see if I can remember them all. We got YouTube, all right? iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify. This is your first Fireside Chat episode.
If you don't like this ambiance,
Frank Donley,
I'm over it.
thank you for coming, brother.
Yeah,
All right,
anytime.
guys, have a good day. Peace.